How did you manage your mental well-being before discovering running during the pandemic versus now? Because I know that you've learned a lot of lessons through this journey that you've been on, but we all develop and evolve as human beings, and I can imagine running taught you an awful lot, but what was it like pre-pandemic? Could you rely on exercise to support your own mental health, or did you struggle with that a little bit more?
I definitely struggled a lot more. I think it was more exercise was not as big a priority. It was okay, yeah, I train here and there, and it's, you know, I was still playing rugby, and it was a part of what I did, but it wasn't. It was never the priority. I never really prioritized my training. I think if I was going through tough patches, I would distract myself. A lot of going out, and like I've got a lot of friends on all sides of the spectrum. Friends who love going out, who out 2-3 nights a week. I got friends who don't drink, and I still see all of them in that sense there. But I think when I was going through, anytime I'd face challenges, I would fill it with distractions, which is very easy to do, especially in a city like London. You know, it's so easy to get yourself distracted, taking up your time doing whatever you wanted to do. But when I think throughout COVID was such a reset for not just me, but a lot of people found it as a reset of, okay, let's start now. Can't go out, can't go to the pub on a Friday night. What are we going to do instead? And actually, I think that's where a lot of people found, especially endurance training, because gyms were closed. So people had running and they had a bike. Kind of it, really. So I think a lot of people found love for their endurance training at the time. Because also the other thing we had was a lot more free time. You know, endurance training, as you get better at it, becomes more and more time consuming. You know, gym, realistically, after 5-6 hours a week, you can't really add more. It's very highly diminishing returns. Whereas with endurance training, you have to continuously increase that amount of time spent to see improvement. So I think that's where a lot of people found endurance training. I know it was the first time in years I'd had time to go, well, okay, I've got 3 hours free today. Let's go run for an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, or jump on the bike for a couple of hours. Before then, it would be like, okay, I've got an hour to get a workout in the gym.
Yeah, tick the box, move on.
Tick the box, move on. Maybe something a bit more high intensity. But, you know, zone 2, I only don't know what zone 2 was in about 2019. So, yeah, I think since that period, and then, you know, allows you to, I think with endurance training is it requires so much planning and organization, and just through, as a byproduct of getting into it, you then have to organize other elements of your life and plan accordingly. So like for me now, Sunday evening is like planning at what time throughout the week am I going to do this session, this session, this session. It then kind of force you to be organized on the parts of your life. Okay, cool. Well, you know, I was supposed to be seeing so-and-so this day. Okay, well, let's actually, like, when am I seeing that person that day? Well, you know, and it asks a level of discipline of your time that often I never used to have before.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, because otherwise if you don't plan something properly, it often doesn't get done. Especially with the training, unless that's like, this is happening on this day, at this time, this is the thing here, it can often get brushed on the carpet.
I think the best thing of whatever it is, 5-6 hours a week in the gym, training for something mad, training for your first 5K, whatever it is, the sheer act of committing to it and getting some skin in the game is one of the most powerful things you can do for your day-to-day, because it forces you to stress test your systems, assess your priorities, look at how you structure your week, look at your commute, look at where you spend your time, look at where your gym membership is, look at how you allocate social time. And it makes you ask questions. What do I want to be doing? What should I be doing? Actually, what shouldn't I be doing? And then from there, you can allocate time accordingly, recalibrate, go through another evolution and recalibrate as you go. And I've learned more about myself and what's best for me on a day-to-day basis through continued reps in different disciplines over time. That's maybe much more effective overall. So I've kind of accelerated my self-development in many ways and just made myself a much more efficient human being by continuously committing to another intimidating, to me, important thing to mention, relative term, challenge, event, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's where, you'll be a different man come the back end of this training prep, I'm sure.
100%. I think the biggest thing this last 6 months is the amount of no's I've had to say to things. And that's not for good and for bad. So it's nice I can just say, I'm training for this thing at the moment, I can't really commit to this and this. The other side of that is there are things I would have quite liked to do these last 6 months that I haven't been able to do, like go on holidays, travel with mates. I've had to say no to a lot of fun things for the sake of I need to get more rest in, I need to get more recovery in. You know, if I'm not hitting 9 hours of sleep at the moment, I'm feeling it the next day.
Yeah.
So that means I can't, you know, anything going on, it's like an automatic no, which is okay for a period of time. It's not the status quo. You know, we're only here for a short amount of time in life. We need to enjoy ourselves as much as it is to push ourselves. It can't all be that David Goggins-esque, you know, going hard all the time. No, like life is a balancing act, and life is immensely more enjoyable with other people in your life. And if you just say no to everyone all the time, eventually you get to a point where no one wants to invite you to anything or do anything with you because you're always spending your time running or training this thing. There's got to be, as you talk about, balancing the scales there that's in multiple different areas of life. And then there's going to be periods of the year where I'm training for events, training for things, but also I think it's okay to have like an off season in that sense. There, doing this in a non-professional setting means that it's very tempting, especially in social media, to go from challenge to event to challenge to event, challenge to event, without realizing, hang on a minute, like I've now just spent a year or 2 years only training for things, only doing this. I mean, the longest period of time I took off from training was post-challenge last year. I had pretty much 3 months of just relaxed training as and when I felt good. And that was a nice reset because the first 6 weeks post-challenge, I felt just awful the whole time. And I tried to get back into running, going from running 572k over 10 days to then going, it took me about months to build up to a 10k again because my body was shot and I felt tired. I was fatigued. I also there wasn't a purpose behind it. I wasn't enjoying it, running for the sake of running rather than going, I'm running for the purpose of enjoying this run. And that's why I gave a bit of time before going, right, what's something I want to do next? So I left a little bit of time. I ran a 70k in January just for a bit of fun. Wasn't going for like a specific time. It was just a case of like loads of my friends from Run Club, we're all going to run the 70k. Let's run it together. It'll be a bit of a laugh. And it was a laugh. It was something to have an element of like structured training around over the Christmas period, which I think is really important